Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in the F2 cars at Zandvoort. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me on the caster desk is the awesome Mr. Safso. How you doing?
I'm doing very well tonight. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I mean, actually, looking a lot better than the weather, if we're looking at it, because it looks pretty overcast. I'm not seeing any rain. I'm also not seeing any sort of signs that we're going to be seeing any intermediates or even any wet tires, which I think, actually, having said that, in the F2s, I think there's only wet tires. I don't think there is any intermediates. But I do want to point out, 2 weeks ago, there was a battle of the ducks, if you remember. We're talking Raven Duck, Mini Duck, and Dazzler. So Dazzler used to be known as Dazzler Duck. He did sort of pull himself away from the flock, that is, and has decided he's going to be just known as Dazzler Duck. But there is a little battle for the superior duck. If you remember 2 weeks ago, Dazzler was the one who won. Raven Duck got it rubbed in his face an extreme amount, and he is very upset with me for first of all instigating this, but second of all because now he has to try even harder to beat him this week. So yesterday, if you're watching the stream, I was actually giving Raven Duck and Badger even a bit of a rundown on how this circuit works, because it's actually one of my favorite circuits, and they seem to be getting better and better as time went on. However, I have no idea how Dazzler is going to do, so we are going to have to keep an eye out for him. He is currently looking better than both the other ducks, as he's currently sat there in P7. But the man I want to watch is Beaker. He is fantastic in these F2 cars, and right now he's currently looking for pole position.
Yeah, he's looking solidly in front of the moment, but they're actually having so that Aviator's just gone in front, so it's not going to be smooth sailing for Beaker. Unless he gets a very good run out there. Unless also Aviator might have been validated. No, Aviator takes pole 310.
Oh, that is actually quite surprising. I didn't expect him to be quite as fast as that, especially with how Beaker was actually pretty hot on the heels. And to pull 3/10 there, something must have gone wrong in those final few corners. Just because, how do you lose 3/10 that easy? But Aviator will take pole position, and more crucially, the 4 points going into the first race. So there is a chance here for Aviator to get the perfect weekend. Beaker will get P2 with Maku in P3, Nixana P4, Marquez P5 with Dazzler Duck in P6, Horn Badger P7, Matt P8, Tiger Jr. P9 with Raven Duck rounding out the top 10. Mini Duck gets best of the rest with Hardy in P12, and Burrito Bandito didn't set a time at all, so we'll be starting at the back of the grid. Now, Mr. Safso, as is always the case, whenever I commentate with anybody, there's a bus that I have to throw you under, and I need to know what your top 3 prediction is for this first race.
For this first race, I'm actually going to go with a very safe prediction, although maybe I shouldn't, because it is raining, ladies and gentlemen, for this first race.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting, but I do need you to give me... I just have to. You're still swimming, but I need to know.
I'm going to stick with my prediction. I'm going to say Beaker for the win, Aviator second, Maku third. A very safe prediction.
Ooh, okay. I'm with you on Beaker, because not only is he good in the F2 cars, he's also fantastic when it comes to the wet conditions. Whether he can blend the two together and actually become even better, I don't know. I hope so, but I am going to give him that prediction. I do have the faith in him to get the win. P2, though, Aviator does struggle when it comes to wet conditions. I have seen it in the past, and I'm also going to be seeing it again today, more than likely. But alongside that, he tends to get himself a fair few penalties. This is a circuit where you can get a couple, especially in the final couple of corners. That is the main area where people make those mistakes. And in the wet conditions, mistakes are all the more easy to make. In terms of who do I put there instead, you know what? I'm actually going to back Marquez. This guy has been fantastic week on week. He does get caught up in incidents, it's true, but I do believe that this week is going to be a different week, and I think he will secure himself a nice cheeky P2 with Nixana P3.
That's a very reasonable prediction. I think Nixana can definitely mix it up with those top 3, but yeah, I think we both definitely agree on Beaker winning.
Yeah.
So
what you're saying is Nixana Mixana, am I right?
Yes.
Thank you. I tried.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Something to note, Maku has obviously just been disqualified, but he did have a couple of issues on that outlap. So, yes, he may have qualified P3, but looking at the way his outlap is going, unless he learns really quickly, he is going to be in a bit of a pickle coming into this. Marquez doesn't know that the race hasn't yet started because he's just sent one down the inside of Nixana, who very smartly backed out. Or was that even Nixana? That might not have even been Nixana.
That was Beaker.
It was, in fact, Beaker, yes. That's right. Beaker just obviously backed out quite smartly because there's no point. You're only going to get disqualified and sent back to the grid. Now, obviously, Maku will show as disqualified, but that only means he's removed from the formation lap. He will, of course, get to start this Grand Prix, although I hope he has a much better start than what he did in the formation lap.
Yeah, as Marquez has officially won the formation lap, so congratulations for that. As actually, in that battle for the Ducks, Mini Duck has been disqualified, so will that maybe give Raven Duck a bit of a psychological edge? We'll have to wait and see, as you're saying for Dazzler up in 6. Can you really see any of the other Ducks getting past him today?
I think it's going to be hard, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. Dazzler's looking much more comfortable. It's weird because Raven Duck is actually normally the faster of the 3. But I don't know what it is. In these F2 cars, in this setting, Raven Duck just seems to crumble. Maybe it's the fact he knows he's being watched. Maybe it's the pressure of the Twitch chat. Who knows? But I can tell you, we are waiting for, I believe, Burrito Bandito to bring himself back into the grid. Yes, he is. As soon as he is in the grid box, we will get this Grand Prix underway, although probably with a delayed start due to the ever-ongoing start-light glitch. Well, here we are then. We are in the grid boxes. We do have the lights on. The lights have gone out. Oh, there we go. Actually, pretty quick away there. No real delay. Raven Duck is apparently up at the very front of the grid, but I can show you he absolutely is not. Marquez is actually closing in quite nicely. Lots of mistakes made at the back of the field. They've actually huge contact between them. I believe that was Tiger Jr. who's been sent off the field. No, it isn't. Oh, it was. Sorry. Yes, it is Tiger Jr. He was pretty much the victim in that. Mini Duck has got wing damage at the back of the grid, along with, is that Burrito? Yes, I think it is. But we're going to go back up to the front of the grid, which is actually being still led by Aviator.
Yep, and as you predicted before, Maku's just hit the wall. I just went on board with him. He had a bit of a bad start off the line. He's just hit the wall, got some damage down to 9th, and he's just hit another wall. So it's not looking great for Maku right now. Aviator, though, still leading, actually already pulling a bit of a gap to Beaker, which I think is surprising both of us a bit. Beaker is seeming to struggle.
Yeah, he is normally very good in these conditions, but maybe he's just struggling in the F2s. Like I said, you know, separately, if you put the F2s in dry conditions and put him into an F1 car in wet conditions, Beaker is really good. But put the both two together, it seems to be a bit of a problem for him. We do, however, have Beaker and his teammate right there at the back, sorry, behind him. And this is a battle for physical P2. P1 looks to be just a bit too far away. We also have a nice little juicy battle with Badger and Dazzler. Badger might go for the inside here into the second to last corner. He's decided against it. And that is pretty smart because he knows how important this home straight is.
Yep, so Badger is going to have the slipstream. I was almost about to say DRS. So no, he's going to have the slipstream heading down into turn 1. Dazzler looked like he was going to go defensive. Badger's gone deep on the brakes, but he's actually kept it well on the line. Is Dazzler going to be able to fight back in the exit? No. Badger's got that position in turn 1 up into 5th place.
So it turns out that Badgers are better than Ducks, as it looks like. He is now leading away from the rest of the Ducks. Dazzler made a bit of a mistake there through that double left-hander. More people into the pits. Look at them all in there. That is Maku, Matt, Burrito Bandito, Mini Duck, and Raven Duck. So clearly they're struggling, but Nixana is all over the back of Beaker. I think it's a matter of time before we see a switch of positions.
Yeah, as my timing board has been completely glitched, so I can't tell who's where.
But I'm going to use a track map.
Yeah, if Beaker just makes one big enough mistake, Nixana will be right in there to take that for, I believe, will be next 2nd place.
Yep. I mean, it's looking good for Aviator by quite a margin. However, like I said earlier, Aviator is someone who tends to make these mistakes. It's quite often where he'll find himself dropping back down the order as a result of a mistake he's made. Raven Duck is under attack. but I don't know who is chasing him. Who is
Rainbow
that?
Duck, isn't it?
Not Mini Duck. It's not Burrito Bonita. Who is all over the back of Raven Duck?
That
Is it
might
Matt?
be Matt.
That's Matt,
It
yeah.
is Matt.
It doesn't help with the timing board being so messed up. We can't really see who's who and doing what, but look at this. Badger seems to have really found his groove today. These conditions seem to be working well for him, because here we go in towards turn 1. He's going to have to take the outside line, or at least get the cut back on Hardy. He sees the gap. He knows there's a chance here. Look how much he's feathering that throttle, because he has to get the exit. Oh, bit of a mistake there. Does he have wing damage? I think he's escaped it. No, he hasn't. He has lost a right end plate. That will affect his race. And now suddenly, from that little bit of extra greed, has now brought Dazzler back into a fight for potential P6.
Yeah, Dazzler is going to be all over that Badger now. So the Ducks clearly didn't like your comment about the Badgers being better and thought, I think I'll give them a bit of damage. And now Badger's going to be in a very compromised position for Dazzler. You can see how much slower he's going through the corners now. Wouldn't be surprised if Dazzler maybe tries it in the corner after this one. Yeah, here he goes down the inside. It's going to be, you can brake later, you can hold the line. And Badger very, very close to his side pod, but I think he's accepted that he's not going to keep that position with that damage. Dazzler moves up into 6th place. He might be stuck there because Hardy does seem to be pulling away from this group. As there doesn't seem to be many battles at the moment, does there?
Well, there's a couple of battles going on, but the problem is that in these conditions, it's so risky to make a big send. So they're trying, I mean, look, Badger, for example, tried his best on the exit of turn 1 to get a good run towards turn 2, 3, and then maybe go for a move into turn 4. However, he just stepped a bit too hard on the throttle, and in these cars, it's very easy to lose that and go into the wall, get wing damage, and have to then try and manage your pace from here on out. But it hasn't stopped him from getting aggressive again on Dazzler. He is so much faster on these straights. He's better on the brakes as well. It looks like he's gone tight as you need to in towards turn 1, but he's left a bit of a gap there. Dazzler's trying to slip down the inside. He's not going to quite get the exit he needs, and this will favour Badger coming into turn 4, and Badger will hold on to that position. He's back up to P6, and this is good stuff to see. Although Dazzler's trying to get around the outside, it's going to be very difficult for him to maintain this one because it's going to be an uphill fight, and I think Badger will slot back into P6. Because of just the nature of this type of circuit here, it's very difficult to go side by side up this hill, which is why you can see Dazzler is... Oh, never mind, he's trying it down the inside. Badger's going to have to surrender that. There's nowhere else for him to go, and Dazzler, he dug deep, he found his mojo, and he went for a send.
Yeah, he just went for an absolute instinctive move, saw that Badger had an error with his damage, went a little off the track, thought, you know what, I think I'll take that inside line, thank you very much. Back up into 6th now. But as last lap proved, Badger will not give up just yet. As Dazzler's lost the rear end, nearly completely going for a little mini spin. That's Badger back up to 6. These two do not want to keep that 6th place by the looks of it.
Yeah, every time they get into it, it's, no, you have it. You know, no, you have it. No, you take it. You know, whatever it may be, whether it's them just feeling a little bit confident, or whether they're just maybe being pushing a bit too hard to try and clear that 1 second margin so they can break the toe. Obviously, there is no DRS because it's raining, so it is purely focused on just breaking the toe, which we saw from Badger's perspective when he was in the toe of Dazzler all the way down the home straight. It was a massive. So Badger has now covered that off. He's 1.3 or just under now ahead of Dazzler, so he's covered on this home straight, but he does have wing damage, which may affect him in his lap times in comparison to Dazzler.
And of course, it's now going to be very hard to tell the gaps with absolutely no gaps shown on the leaderboard. I don't know if you have that as well.
Yeah.
But that's so it's going to be once again relying on the track map. Everyone seems to be pretty spaced out from each other, but of course, Badger still that damage is going to keep Dazzler within the hunt at the end of the race. Because honestly, I can't see Badger pinning. I think he's going to try and hold this position to the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you think about it, he's going to be starting P3 in the next Grand Prix. If he can hold on to it, I don't actually think he has much to worry about because he's so much faster than Dazzler on the straights. He can pretty much always make it back down the inside of him into turn 1. It's just how Dazzler can react to that and learn from that. Already, though, Dazzler has brought himself back into the 1 second margin. I can tell physically. So he will have the toe coming down the home straight, but he is very loosey-goosey on that back end, and that could spell disaster for him in a lap or two's time.
Yeah, he really does need to be careful on that rear end. I'm not sure if he saw what Badger did after turn 1, but if he repeats that, then that could be a time for 6 over, because Badger's really holding his own for someone missing a right end plate. Probably just the amount of low speed corners there are saving him. And he's got a good exit off this corner, so Dazzler might actually struggle to get past Badger now.
Well, I can't even get anywhere near him looking at it. Badger's all the way down the field, miles ahead as Matt has retired. That is the long right-hander coming in towards Sector 2. Dazzler's back in. He caught it. Good catch there from Dazzler, but he has lost even more time and is still losing more time to Badger. So the extra wing that he does have doesn't appear to be really helping him in the areas he needs it to. And I feel like it's just purely down to how much he's just stamping the throttle a bit.
Yeah, that, and maybe, I'm not sure how effective it is, but possibly a little bit of dirty air as well. So I think he just clipped the curb, nearly completely lost the car. Very good save, though. And it's these high-speed corners, you can tell, where Badger's really struggling with that damage. Because, look, Dazzler's now caught about half a second from that main straight, just in this sector alone. So, in the low-speed corners, Badger seems to be fine, but in the high-speed ones, he really needs to watch out.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, you got to give credit to Badger here. He is injured, without doubt. I mean, yes, it was self-inflicted, but he is still doing a phenomenal job to hold on to this P6. Which, you know, if we were looking at a constructor's perspective, this is looking good for his team. Whereas Beaker and Ixana, they are obviously going to gain the most points because they've got that P2, P3 locked in, and they're going to be starting right the way back there in P7 and P6. Coming into this sprint race. Obviously, for those of you who aren't aware, the top 8 do get flipped and reversed when we move into the sprint race. So if you are in P1, you will be starting the next race in P8, and so on down into P8. Outside of the top 8, will be starting exactly where they finish in this first race. As I believe, is that Ravenduck? Yes, it is. He's gone off the circuit. He's actually about to be lapped here by Aviator and Beaker.
Yeah, and you mentioned those two. Beaker has been slowly catching Aviator. A few laps ago, it was over 2 seconds, I believe. Getting near 3 seconds. It's now 1.5. I believe it went down to nearly a second last lap. So the fight for the win might still not be over. Although maybe that closing gap is sort of motivating Aviator to be like, okay, I've got to actually focus. But having said that, Beaker's close another 10th. So yeah, do not count Beaker out yet.
No, definitely not. And on top of that, he has also set the fastest lap, so that's still 2 points in Beaker's pocket that will help him close that gap in a little bit towards Aviator. Obviously, this is the race that scores the most points when it comes to the overall weekend championship. So Aviator will finish with 25 points in his pocket at the end of this race if he can hold on to race win. But like you said, Beaker closing in does spell a little bit of a problem here for Aviator. Second to last lap then, Beaker has brought the gap down to 1.2 seconds on our current race leader. 1.1 now. Actually, Beaker seems to have suddenly found his groove. And this is the type of Beaker I was expecting to see from lights out. We didn't see it initially. He failed a little bit at the beginning to keep the car under proper control and still maintain pace. And that allowed people like Nixana, Marquez, and even to an extent Hardy to close in a little bit. And then, you know, give it a lap and a half, and he started to find that groove and pull himself away. Ravenduck has pit for softs.
That has to be a mistake, surely.
Well, the rain has stopped, but DRS has not been enabled, and that's the key giveaway here. This could be a 5-head play from Ravenduck, but there's still too much spray. I feel like this is too early.
No, definitely far too early. Especially this close to the end of the race. I mean, one more lap. You're going to lose far much more time from pitting than staying out there and potentially losing maybe a few seconds staying on the wets.
And making a mistake like that is not going to help you at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I get from his perspective, he was going to have to pit anyway because he had wing damage, so he's got really nothing to lose. But at the same time, you know, he took a gamble. I may as well play it out. I may as well do it. I'm going to fall to P11. I'm literally not losing anything. Let's just do it and see what happens. As Dazzler touches that curb on the inside, you need to stay off of that one. Even in dry conditions, even in F1 cars, do not touch that curb. It will absolutely spin you. This one, you can just yeet it over. Not a problem at all. And then you can carry the pace here. You'd be right on the back of Badger. Ooh, Dazzler's really struggling with that rear. Gap is 8.5 tenths. This should be an attack at least, I think, in towards turn 1 if he can get the exit here. Badger looks like he's got a good one, but the time is still falling down. So I think Dazzler may have a shot.
Yep, coming down in turn 1, he's got that slipstream. But no, he's not going to be anywhere near close enough. But he's got the rest of the lap to do it. Again, it's going to be that middle sector with that long right-hander. That's going to be where Dazzler can really gain some time. Meanwhile, Beaker now only half a second behind Aviator. So we may need to keep an eye on that. But Dazzler, I believe, is going to be the more immediate attack right up the trough of Badger. And I think I'll let you handle the rest of this.
I mean, it was, a tag slapper there. I thought there was going to be a bit of contact between the two of them. I mean, I'm watching this battle as well, like I say, for race leader. It's 6-10, 7-10 now. We are on the final lap. Beaker will need to go deep, but it looks like Badger's gone deep here, and this is allowing Dazzler to see a window, see a crack of opportunity. And he's going to try and break in here as quick as he can. I'm watching the gap for Beaker. He's not going to be able to attack just yet. Oh, Dazzler had a look down the inside. He's going to have to sit tight, and that back end step out has pretty much sealed the deal. So we're going to go to our race leader. It is Aviator, who started this off beautifully. He hasn't got the fastest lap, so the perfect weekend is not available to him. Beaker really gave it the all there on the final few laps, and still brings it back to get P2. Nixana gets the third step of the podium. And well, may as well look at Dazzler and Badger again, see if anybody makes a mistake. But Badger has done such a good job of just being gentle on the throttle. And that's the difference maker here. I feel like Dazzler is faster, but just can't control that rear end.
Yeah, and in the wet, it's sometimes quicker to be slow, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Not putting as much on the exits, keeping it smooth. Because quite often in the wet, when you look like you're going really slow, but really stable, you're actually going much quicker than most people.
Absolutely. Well, Tiger Jr. and Maku are the last two to come to line. Tiger Jr. will get the P8 position, so it's still points. Same for Maku, he'll also get points, but Tiger Jr. will start on pole in the next race.
Yeah, so obviously he'd want to hang on to that pole position, but with the races ahead of him that you've seen, I mean, he's 18 seconds behind Dazzler, who himself was making a few mistakes. Yeah. Can't really see him getting a podium in the second race, to be honest.
I mean, between them, it's just looking at the overall weekend points. That's the main thing. If Ravenduck can do much better than Dazzler, I mean, he would need Dazzler to not score any points in this race in order for him to beat him. Mini Duck didn't look like he was anywhere in sight to be able to try and compete with Dazzler. Did still finish ahead of Ravenduck, so there is still that one benefactor there. But here we go. So it is Aviator who gets the win, getting himself the 25 points to add to his 4 he's already had from the qualifying. Beaker, because of the fastest lap, will secure himself 20 points, which means he's only realistically 9 points behind Aviator, but does still need to outscore Aviator quite considerably in this next race. Nixana P3, Marquez P4, Hardy P5 with Badger P6. Dazzler, who tried his best to try and make a difference to Badger's race and try and maybe snatch that P6 back again, just couldn't keep control of the rear and did fall down to P7. Tiger Jr. gets P8, so that's where we're going to flip and reverse the whole top 8. Then Maku will stay in P9, Mini Duck P10, Ravenduck P11, although he DNF'd, along with Matt, along with Burrito Bandito. Okay, well, you've seen that race. You've kind of got an idea as to how the pace is going. I'll wait for the weather first because, well, there you go, because it's dry. So this is where people who you didn't expect to be performing in the wet conditions may suddenly start performing in these dry conditions. So what is your top 3 for this race?
Well, it's a very interesting situation because obviously it's the dry, it's flipped from the wet. So I'm still going to say Beaker for the win. I think he can climb through that field. I think actually Marquez second, and
oh no,
Nixana third.
We have lost Badger.
I shall try and send him a few, 1 or 2 invites.
I think he can. I think his car's still there. Yes, it is. It's P3, which is good. So he has a chance to get back. Fingers crossed he is able to rejoin and not have any issues. That would be ideal.
I think maybe his PC has crashed because I can't see him. Oh no, there he is. Never mind.
Maybe
I just couldn't see him. I got very worried for a minute.
It's possible his network dropped, so we shall see. Oh, there we go. He has rejoined. Yeah, it was definite network drop. There's no way his PC rebooted and reloaded the game in that time. So, Tiger Jr. is going to be leading us away on this formation lap. Dazzler in P2. Tiger Jr.'s made a mistake. That's not how you do an outlap or a formation lap even. Obviously, there is no damage here in the formation lap, so he's not really impacted at all. But my word, that was a bit of a spin and a bit of a scare. Also to note, there are 3 drivers here that have medium compound tyres on. They don't get to choose. It is what the game gives you. They have been dealt a difficult race, difficult card here to play. Badger's got it, Maku's got it, and Matt's got it.
Are you sure Maku's got it? Because on my end it's showing Maku on soft tyres. Both on track and in the tyre display.
I mean, I've just checked from my perspective and both show mediums for me, so I hope they're on softs for their benefit, because it would be really rubbish, especially from Badger's perspective. He's in a really good place to actually take a potential race win here, or at least a really big point scoring position. Beaker's going to be stuck behind Nixana as we come in towards turn 1 on this race. He's going to have to get a beautiful start and just tear it down the inside. And we'll see now how this fares out. As we come back into our grid boxes, who's going to win? I mean, Avia's looking set for this overall weekend win with the amount of points he's gotten from the quali and the first race. But Beaker's really quite close to beating him too, but he has to outscore him by a good 9 points at least to actually secure the overall weekend win, which is still possible, especially with the 2 points you can get from the fastest lap. As the lights are on then here for the final of the F2 races. Before we move to the F1s, the lights are out and off we go. So it's looking good for the majority of the field. That is that Badger who's shot up the field there? No, he's actually stuck back. I don't think he's actually control his car yet. Oh yeah, Hardy. He absolutely nailed it off the start.
Oh, Tiger Jr.'s coming back.
Yep, and Tiger Jr. is going to have to stick around the outside. A bit of a brake check there. Oh, big mistake there. Is that Beaker? That is Beaker, who's had a bit of a contact. I think he got hit there. I don't think he actually did anything himself. Yeah, and you got Tiger Jr. and Nixana all over the place and trying to catch each other as well. Hardy in what is physically P3. I know the telemetry is all messed up, but you give it another 2 laps and we will be set back to normal.
Well, it looks like it's normalizing itself now, thank goodness. So, Tiger Jr. Oh, Nixana's dived it down the inside. And fair enough, he's actually made it work. Nixana now in the lead. But Tiger Jr., I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a dive here at the chicane. Let's wait and see. No, okay. Tiger Jr. is staying behind very wise, as there is actually going to be DRS in this race, as Marquez has got past Hardy. Yellow flag in Sec 2, that speaker spinning around, he's retired. And I do not blame him. His race is kind of ruined by that lap 1, so he shall not be going for the weekend win or the race win, which means Aviator, you've got to say, is in a very good position now.
Well, yeah, he's pretty much locked this one in. The only person who can really make a difference here is Nixana, and he's going to have to do what he's just done now, set the fastest lap, and still secure the win. It's going to be very difficult for him to really nail this one home, but he's in the prime position to do it. He's currently on track for that to happen. Yellow flag sector 1, is that Dazzler?
I
think he might
no. He might have a mistake.
Oh, that's not going to help Nixana.
No, it's not.
Physical P1, but he has just left the session for whatever reason that may be. But he is going to be getting chased down. Aviator is on the back of Hardy. So this is going to be even harder now for Nixana to hold on to race lead. He has rejoined, so he should be able to maintain it. Marquez is obviously with them as well. This is going to be very tough and tense for all of those involved.
Yeah, Nixana, when he comes back in the session, he's going to be sweating. Because okay, that's interesting. The little yellow flashing DRS bit has come up despite the fact it's on lap 2. So we're finding new bugs every day with the game, unless that's a very old one that I've just not had yet. As Nixana coming back, he's gone well off track on the exit. Clearly just, trying to get back into muscle memory thing. And actually now, Tiger Jr. is going to be all over the back of him. This could be a move into turn 1. So here we go. He goes to... Oh, he's gone!
That wasn't a glitch. That was Nixana who went off into the wall. I think he may have some sort of wheel malfunction.
Yeah, that looked like the wheel just wouldn't turn left.
That is bad news bears for Nixana. That has pretty much locked him now out of the running for the win.
From what I've heard, Nixana was put into someone else's view. That's what's happened to him, apparently.
Very odd and very interesting, and he has retired from the session. That isn't a surprise. A very, very frustrating race for him. But Marquez, suddenly, he's looking set to claim his second win in the F2 cars, and Aviator's gone off. That's a mistake here. That's sent him right out onto the gravel, and he will now fall down to what looks to be P8. So remember, the top 8 are the only ones who score here in the sprint race. As obviously all the points are reduced. Matt has left the session, obviously because he has retired as well. So we've lost 3. And currently, Raven Duck is the better duck in this race.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be very happy about that. Dazzler not too far behind, about 1.5 seconds. But actually, we were saying about how, Beaker can only do it. Oh, now it's only time. Now, I think if Marquez wins and Avery comes 8th, he might actually be able to get the weekend win.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, as here we go then, coming into turn 1 for Maku. He's on the back of Hardy. There is an opportunity for him to go for a little bit of a cheeky send here, but he hasn't quite got it done. Nope, he's staying back. Still having to hang in there, but Tiger Jr. is still here. He does have wing damage. That right side is pretty destroyed, but he is all in this. And we've got a nice little battle. Who is superior, the Ducks or Badger? Because Badger's looking pretty good right now, even on the medium tyres.
Yeah, he's looking very good, but of course he's got Raven Duck right up the trough, and Dazzler has caught up to them now. So Raven Duck's going to be maybe sweating under the collar a little bit, as his fellow Duck right behind him, and the other Duck further 10 seconds behind, but they've got Aviator behind them, so they really need to get the hurry on and not hold each other up too much if they want to keep these positions, because Aviator will be hung with those positions. Dazzler goes down the inside. Oh, he's caught Raven Duck love guard, but he's been heavy on the throttle again on the exit. But Raven Duck not having quite a good exit himself. He's going to take the inside line into the chicane. Oh
no!
A bit of a... I think he wasn't expecting Dazzler to do what he did. Oh, he's been squeezed fully off track. If this was a stewarded race, I imagine that would have been looked into, because that's actually cost him a position out to Aviator. He will not be happy about that in that cockpit.
Well, also looking for P2 here. Hardy's under a defensive move from Maku, because Maku's going around the outside. Hardy's going to go deep into turn 1. A little bit of a contact between them. And Maku, despite what looks to be, from my perspective at least, on the medium compound tyres, is all over the back of Hardy's car. Hardy is going to have to go really tight to the inside here, because he knows that Maku's going to be looking for a switchback. Couldn't quite get one there. Hardy did defend, and Maku's made a mistake. This should allow him now to hold on to P2 for now. But look at this scrap for P5.
Yeah, this is brilliant. Dazzle right on the trough of Badger again. So he's just trying to put Badger into a mistake. He's touching his diffuser a little bit. If he can just make Badger make a mistake, because there was a gravel up ahead, is that Tiger Jr.? I believe it was. And Xana's now fully left the session. Dazzler, meanwhile, trying to go down the inside of Badger. Can he make that move done? Of course, Badger actually is on the mediums, unlike Maku, which I'm not sure about. And Aviator's gone round the outside of Badger. A lovely move by him. And now he's going to have DRS on Dazzler, who does not have DRS. Could Aviator make it 2 moves in 2 corners?
But this is also bringing Raven Duck back into this. He was outside the DRS. Badger's lost the back end, but he's kept it under control just about. And that means now then it's going to be a 4-way battle for P5. All of these drivers will secure points provided they can make it to the end of this Grand Prix, but we need to go back up to Maku because he's on the back of Hardy. This time he's oh, that's a mistake. Oh, and he's put Hardy in the wall as well. He went for the inside. He clipped the wall, and then as a result, he ping-ponged off of it, clipped Hardy's back end, which then put Hardy in the wall. I think realistically, it was a big mistake on Maku's perspective, but it looks like Hardy is the one who's paid the price for it with that wing damage.
Yeah, I only got onto that as soon as they hit the wall, so I didn't get the full context of what happened, but Hardy now severely injured. I think Maku actually got away without any damage from that, as he's trying to go around the outside of Hardy. That's pretty ambitious. Hardy's put him nearly fully off track. He did actually have some wheels still on the track, so didn't fully force him off, but these two are looking very feisty with each other at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if another accident happens soon. Hopefully not. But...
Yeah, they're definitely going to be going to the end, let's be honest. This isn't going to be a oh, okay, here you go, off you go kind of situation. These two are going to be scrapping for the remainder of this and then the whole entirety of the next lap. The battle for P4 has started. His Tiger Jr. obviously has wing damage. His Aviator is looking to slip down the outside. Here he goes. Now it's the outside for the second to last corner. He's going to have to get the switchback of Dreams, which Tiger Jr. leaves wide open because of that defensive drive. And now will fall to P5. Dazzler just teetering on the edge of DRS. And yeah, Hardy and McCoo are going at it again.
Yeah, Hardy looked like put McCoo in the wall as he's gone down the inside at turn 1 to try and keep that position. Always keep it clean. We don't want incidents on our hands. But it looks like McCoo has got that move done now. Hardy's just looking for every opportunity there is. He's got to be careful though. If he gets any more damage, Aviator might be coming for that position.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be getting yourself in any sort of situation where wing damage can cause problems for you, because it will, and it will not hesitate to ruin your Grand Prix. Hardy looking for a P3, moving up to a P2 if he can, but we are on the final lap, and the only thing that looks to be clear-cut is that Marquez is going to get this win. He's 6.5 seconds ahead of this battle for P2, and the battle for I think it's P5 now, effectively, is still ever raging. Dazzler looks to be the better of the three ducks, and Raven Duck, no! He just got a bit too aggressive on the accelerator, and that has rotated his car, sent him off to the wall. A right end plate is now missing, and that is the end of his Grand Prix. He'll be staying in P8, no further improvements for him. As we come now then, Marquez will take his second win in the F2 cars. McCoo and Hardy, they fought as much as they could, and McCoo is the victor. He comes out in P2 with Hardy in P3. Aviator P4, sorry. Dazzler coming into P5. Tiger Jr. falls to P6. Badger will get P7. And Raven Duck, who is very much limping to the line, will finish in P8. As Mini Duck will come to the line in P9.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if you saw, but it was a complete drag race between Dazzler and Tiger Jr. Very close together at the end. But yeah, that was a pretty entertaining second race, huh?
Just a tad, yeah. It was everything you needed. That's the thing, when you take the rain out of the equation, people start to get more aggressive, people start to feel more confident, and that starts to play to their hands, which is great stuff. As Burrito Bandito said, I've had enough of this Grand Prix, I'm not going to get any points anyway, let's just retire. So he has brought himself out of it. And it looks like Dazzler, for the second event in a row, will be the better of the three ducks, despite how much both Raven Duck and Mini Duck tried. They just couldn't get anywhere near Dazzler's pace. And I think there's going to be another week at least of showboating from Dazzler.
Yeah, he's going to be a very happy duck in that league chat. I wouldn't be surprised if that just pops off now before the F1 race.
Yeah, it's going to explode in a minute. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I hate you so much, I'm told, in the Twitch chat from one Raven Duck. But here is the Grand Prix. Marquez did get a penalty, but it didn't affect him because he had quite an enormous lead to McCoo. Marquez gets the win then with McCoo in P2. He's only actually 1 point away from Marquez. I believe he got a fastest lap point as Beaker didn't get it. So McCoo P2, Hardy P3, Aviator P4, Dazzler P5, Tiger Jr. P6, Hardy Horned Badger, sorry, in P7, Raven Duck P8, and the last of the point finishers as Mini Duck gets P9, and then you DNFers are Burrito Bandito, Nixana, Beaker, and Matt. But when it comes to the overall weekend, of course, it's still Aviator who gets that win. He couldn't quite get the perfect weekend. He did, however, finish with 37 points. Marquez got P2, Beaker P3, Hardy P4, McCoo P5, Nixana P6, Dazzler P7, Badger P8, Tiger Jr. P9, Mini Duck P10, Raven Duck P11, Burrito Bandito in 12th, and Matt in 13th place. And that's it for the F2s, but don't go anywhere because in just a few moments we will be starting off with the F1 races.